Good morning and afternoon, everyone. And I am really excited to have you back listening and watching our latest episode of the Dream Reality podcast series with Idunn Consulting. So this is a series where we talk to industry experts who have an opinion, who have something to say, who have lived through different times and periods and have so much experience when it comes to growing. And we've been talking to people about specific aspects. And today we are talking to Mary about something that I think is really undervalued and we don't always give enough attention to. And that is the domain of supply chain and logistics. So Mary, thank you so much for your time today. Over to you to tell us a little bit more about you and your journey so far.
Good morning and afternoon, everyone. Delighted to be here taking part and to be part of this amazing feature. So I'm Mary Cadogan, and I work and much experience from O'Donnell Furniture in Skibbereen, West Cork, where we manufacture hotel furniture for hotels and high-end residential 4- and 5-star hotels. So my journey have been there, I suppose, with many years. So I'm a seasoned supply chain and logistics person. It's probably a tough area on one hand. However, on the other hand, as Alison mentioned there, it is probably one of the ones that don't get broadcast or get as much highlighting as it needs to be. So hopefully it's getting up there a bit now more. It's becoming more of an essential area, being more pointed and more documented and research going into it. How can we improve? Because we know, your supply chain, your logistics, the whole process are a big part of the feature of the flow for all products, processes and goods to and from the end and start and end of service. And whatever you do, be it product or service, it's an important key point.
Yeah. No, and you're absolutely right. And I think that it's something that people think is not their problem. So as a business owner, they don't necessarily put on their supply chain hat, or they're maybe not aware of how to do it. But I think that right now, it's very, very topical. And I think, over the last couple of years, it's become more and more topical to discuss about supply chain security, how stable are they, and the sustainability impact of that. And, I know that certainly myself over the last couple of years, I've been talking to friends and colleagues and networking events, and, it's always like, oh, there's no food on the shelves, oh, they ran out of bread, or there's no sausages. And, that's just one small aspect of it. I mean, if you read the newspapers, the shortage of, the chips for your cars, and it's delaying, car manufacture and things like this. So it has come into the news, I feel, a little bit more, but that's all very big business. How can we think about this from a small business, an SME, and look at their supply chain security and maybe their sustainability impact? Big question, I know, to start.
That's a big question, but I suppose every question has to start at somewhere, be it big or small. So to start from a small SME, it's kind of, first of all, there's a big change at the moment of buy locally, shop locally, be it whatever. So then this feeds back to where your product or your service is coming from. Search locally first. Where can you get it? And just mingle, network, whatever. And networking is really important, because you'll always meet someone who can say, I know someone in this industry can help you, or I know someone and she knows someone. So then you can make contact and network. But it's all about local at the moment, your own local area. Go to across the country. UK is working away, like there is plenty ways of importing and exporting. I know it can be challenging, but on the other hand, keep it as close to your own ground and territory as possible. And there is people out there, because there's loads of local businesses now redeveloping their own processes and I suppose branching out and supplying stuff that they did before or that can do now. Again, COVID, I suppose, have encouraged a lot of this, because just the way things went a bit totally chaotic in 2021 and 2020, and even this year, it's get it local, cut off your lead times, check your lead, you know, it's about getting it close, mapping it out, processing, getting the flow going, and keeping that flow going to the end of your product or service.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. It's really just, you know, the two takeaways from that are really look local, try to see what there is. And yes, you may be paying slightly more for product, but in the grand scheme of things, you're reducing your costs on logistics and you're helping the infrastructure and the sustainability components there as well. And in buying local, there's a lot more control about this, the supply chain security. So many things that you need to think about when you're you know, looking at new suppliers and things. And when a business grows, sometimes, you know, you wear a lot of hats, and sometimes you can be more in a reactive mode rather than going out and, you know, getting your multiple quotes or finding different suppliers and long negotiations with them. Maybe it's just, I need this, let's get it done. So how can a business owner change their mindset and maybe leverage scale and, you know, economies of scale with suppliers?
Again, it's back to planning, and I suppose proactive. It's it's always reactive, instant. We need it now. We need it yesterday, but that's not really any good. I mean, like, I suppose we have come on so much in technology, having systems that have visibility to each and every, I suppose, process, from management down to each level of your organization, helps, because I suppose just it's visibility of planning. You can forecasting, there's all the different scales of forecasting, but like on your pipeline or on your different scales of forecasting, you see this is due in to me, or this is wanted in March, this is wanted in April. So then you kind of backtrack, you actually do backward scaling, and you start from, okay, April, but I need, it's 8 weeks, it's 5 weeks, it's 4 weeks. So you kind of have to leverage it that way. And it's, yeah, backstepping really. So kind of start at the reverse, but to make it happen for that you have it. And again, the good point there is like sustainability of shopping locally, as they say, like, okay, you're paying cheaper maybe to bring it from some other where, Timbuktu. However, if you're looking at the actual time it's shipping and transporting, all of this adds up. And also putting local sourcing is generating the economy, which is a really good point, and really going back into our own local environment and our own sustainability plan as well.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. And I think that's something that, in addition to that, is about the relationship that you have with your suppliers. If it's purely transactional, that's where, you know, if something is urgent, and we can all appreciate that things happen and you know, that's unplanned and you need something urgently, that's where they're not, if you don't have a relationship with them, they're not going to go that extra mile with you. But if you do have a relationship and you know them and you talk to them and you've maybe been working with them for a while, then when that emergency comes up, they're going to try and help you. And do you see that? Is that just an idealized view, or do you think that that's something that translates in the real world?
Absolutely, of course, it translates in the real world. It's like any relationship, really. And I suppose a lot of the things nowadays, it's like you can't talk to a person, it's press the button, it's on a screen, but still you need to bring the personality back to it, because at each button there is actually a person inputting that information. So number one, the information that's sent via electronically needs to be checked, because it's not always inputted correctly, or maybe the sender didn't actually input it correctly, but it's to build up this the strong bond of supplier or your logistics, whatever, because if you don't talk, sometimes it can be like, oh yeah, it's due to come in, but it's not going to come in. So it's the whole thing. And also it's maximizing what you want to get it right when you want it at the right time, not a month late, not a month too soon, but as close as possible that it's all working out most economically. So it's key, and to have the relationship built, the strong one, because again, you want to work with these people. You need them as much as they need you. So it's an unequal balance, and if one leaves the other down, it's going to be flop always. So strengthen it and maximize what you want to get for your product or service.
And do you think that you see, there's different articles, and you can find them in HBR or the Financial Times, where they see a step change in larger organizations of kind of partnerships, so taking that relationship to the next level and becoming partners between the business themselves and some of their suppliers, so that they have, they actually sit together in the same office, or they have representatives that sit with them. They're involved in the planning, they're involved in the forecasting exercises and things like that. And do you think that that's going to percolate down to smaller business, or that's something only when you're talking about the billion-dollar contracts that's only really going to be relevant?
I think it's going to pickle down. It's going to take a bit of time, but again, it's generating business together. It's making bonds stronger. Companies, SME, small companies, they can all kind of bond together. I suppose it's like a chain.
Yeah.
The chain is only as strong as its weakest link.
Yes.
So whoever you have in your supply chain, that chain really needs to be strong, and speaking to them via Teams or Zoom, it can be, or on your boardroom table, whatever, but it is actually, there's a big drive towards it at the moment, just again to strengthen the whole process, because I suppose no one wants to be let down. I suppose everyone have had so much of, I'm shortest, I can't do this, blah, 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 and it goes on. So to come over that curve, the push is to get out there now, meet the person that is supplying your flour, will take your bread, even though that is quite difficult sometimes, but like you just need to break it down and build it up strong. So there is no weak link in your chain, and the whole process is flowing. I suppose like it's it's just the flow is continuing, and there's no stoppage at all. It's not just a function. Done.
Yeah. There's no silo. It's not someone else's job. It's everyone's job.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think that that's really interesting, especially, if you're a small business and you're looking to grow, having a different relationship, or really fostering a relationship with, your suppliers that have been there with you, is really going to differentiate your business, because that's going to really take you, fast track you, and make it a lot easier than, I want to grow and I need to go and find new suppliers. That's going to take the journey a little bit longer. But then how do you think that can play out if you're, going to start looking at internationalization, or exporting, or using suppliers that are overseas? How would you, if you're growing your business and you need to go out to an external market, what kind of supports are maybe there, or what kind of discussions do you need to be thinking about having?
There are many supports. I suppose like the local EI office are brilliant. And then again, networking, like there's so many groups, so many, I suppose supply chain management, there's different transport logistics agencies, like sorry, I'm gone blank at the moment.
So you just basically need to get out there and join these networks. And I guess then the key as well to networking is you want to start it early. So even if you have an inkling of having to go there, you should be starting sooner rather than later, because to work together, you need to form the trust, and trust isn't something that comes straight away. So really your feedback is, join the networks. If you're thinking about going overseas, using overseas suppliers, join the networks, get the feedback, start getting yourself out there, so that you have those relationships already built for when you need them.
Exactly. Yeah. Like there's loads of networks. Network Ireland, for instance, women's group, and then there is logistics and everything. So it's a logistics supply chain, whole lots of them, and it's just building that and formalizing. And sometimes it is hard to step out and say, I need to do this and look for the help, but the help, there's abundance of help out there, suitcases of it for everyone. And like, you know, it's like someone, again, it's going back to, I can help you, or, you know, she can help you, and or he can help you, and it do work, like, and it's important. It's an important thing to getting your own business as well established and moving it up the ladder.
No, that's I love that idea of I can help you and you can help me, and there's reciprocation of that. And it's just, I think, having that mindset of giving, and then when you give, you will receive. In business, I think it really brings the whole circularity, and it just builds that relationship and that trust, which then takes your business to the next level, because everything just is that little bit easier. And that aspect of asking for help. How many businesses do you actually think ask for help? Do you think that's common?
Probably not too well. Yeah, it depends. We may.
It depends. It depends is a good answer. Yes. Yeah, I think that it really depends on their mindset, on where they are on their journey, because it's just, you know, I think some people are definitely more inclined, and some personalities are definitely more inclined to ask for help. But I think if you frame it around a growing business, you know, certainly the people that I talk to, they don't have all the answers. So I think the key takeaway is, you know, when this isn't your domain, if you're all about the product or all about the whatever, you need to ask for help and support for those other aspects of business, so that you can really develop that business to the next level.
Yeah. And also, like, just to add there, like the educational boards and colleges, there's huge stuff going on there. Like Solace have loads of schemes. Springboard is more and more training. Upskilling is a huge important thing to any business to grow and develop, because I mean, it is all fun, grand to say, sure, I've been doing it for years, this is the way I do it. Like, you know, we all know them, we all have been there, we are all one of them at one stage of our life, but it really doesn't help either, do it? You know, you have to just keep upscaling, keep training, because things do change, and who knows, you can do it faster, you can do it better, you can continuously improve, and your business will be better off for it in the long term. And you'll make more money.
That's it. And you know, we all need a little bit of help with that, I think, you know. And so just jumping on that, and then going back to a point that you mentioned at the beginning, which is about localization and looking for your suppliers locally, and, you know, the development of it. How do you think, you know, and there's a lot of innovation and people are learning, and there's lots of changes, and the digitization, and, you know, the potential introduction of blockchain for, you know, contracts to get paperless, and all these, you know, innovative startups that are coming up. How do you think that that's going to make an impact? And is that, again, going to be just for the big boys, or do you think that there's enough innovation at the smaller level? And then as well, where are we with, you know, localization versus globalization?
Localization. Okay, we'll start at the beginning. So I think it's really important for small local people, because there's a number of factors out there at the moment. They're rolling out remote hubs, rolling out so much stuff that can benefit this, that can bring develop local economies, local sourcing, like. And there is funding, there is a lot of funding going in as well to new enterprises and things. So it's all, I suppose, really gelling it up, and again, starting looking can I get this in Dublin? Can I get it in Cork? Can I get it in Limerick? Can I get it in what part of Ireland? Can I get it? Like, can I get it in Meath? Can I get it in Kildare? And just reach out, stretch out that little bit from then like going, I suppose, it's just getting the whole networking and checking with your supplier. Or just the amount of times that someone will say have said to me is, you know, I actually do know someone that can do that or is starting up on that, and that will get it, you know, we'll get it for you. So it is important to start with your small fellas and your local. They're not small because every small P has a brilliant backing behind him or her. You know, they're really important.
Yeah, and you know, the small businesses in Ireland are 95% of all businesses and employ 80% of the employed population. So it's not insignificant, you know, to fall within the SME community, either within Ireland or it's the same statistics on a global scale. You know, it's
definitely really, yeah.
You know, it's a fine line. It really is a fine line. So look, what an interesting perspective. So I have one last real question for you before we go into a couple of recommendations. This podcast is called Dream Reality. So if the planets or the stars aligned, how do you see the world of supply chain and logistics playing out to you? You know, how would you view this in an ideal world? And then, you know, take a step back. How do you actually think it's going to play out?
Right now, it's kind of difficult.
And who knows with the latest news? I mean,
exactly. Yeah, I suppose with the latest news, it's kind of going to get more challenging. So that's again, I suppose, pressing the button to get what you can locally and really stay, you know, if you have to go to UK, if you have to go to Europe, keep it as close to home, but check your lead times, check your freight, because freight is getting crazy nuts. You know, it's going to be, you know, it just can only see more price increases coming on, which is hitting everyone hard and really hard, and it's going to hit them harder. So if the stars all were aligned and everything was perfect, I would just see everything flowing lovely and sweet. No delays or
no problems, no delays.
Yeah, calm,
no price increases.
Very calm. So I think that's a bit of a way. So that gives us some more reason to plan and process and keep the flow and be ahead, be proactive. Forget about the R word, the reactive. Don't let it come in. Just delete it. Proactive. So yeah, it is going to be challenging, but keep at it. Don't stop and don't hesitate. Keep pushing on, really, because everyone hits hard walls, brick walls and block walls, and they can be high walls, but one has to climb and keep climbing, and you will get it, like, in belief.
Yeah, that's fab.
And patience. Do you know what? Because I have heard so many people say, oh, apologize for being frantic, I'm sorry, and then the next day there's another franticity on, and it's like, what's it going to do? Stay calm and patient, and it will get there.
You'll get there. Yeah, and that's it's fabulous, because as well, when you're talking about supply chains, if you're constantly reactive, you'll always get it wrong. You know, because as you keep changing your orders or your minimum and max quantities for stock on hand and things like that, if you're constantly adjusting them, you're constantly creating noise and you're constantly creating shortages or excess. So you need to go for that patient game. You need to really understand the planning, the cyclicity of your cycle for business and things like that. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine who started, he would go to your house and do service your car at your house. And he said that at certain times of the year, he got no business. So for like the month before Black Friday and 2 weeks after, so 6-week period around Black Friday, he didn't get any work. because everyone was prioritizing the sales over the servicing of their car. And so he would just knew that that was his time to, you know, service his own vehicle and, you know, review his business plans and to make everything right, so that he could understand that and plan his business and his spares and everything so much better when he took a step back and looked at it, rather than constantly fighting for just constantly reacting. So yeah, great advice there. And you know, I asked you for 2 recommendations. So do you have a book or a podcast that you like to read or recommend?
I suppose there's lots of books, but you know what? I kind of just, I think the papers are great, kind of just, I suppose it isn't even the papers now, excuse me, the digital, digitalization of these different supply chain groups that I follow, and like Forbes there is just a great lead of information, a source of information itself. There's that I really follow, because it's, you know, even if you spend maybe, I know there's the voices, don't be on your social media 24/7, don't be on it like 12 times a day, each hour, whatever, like, or 12 hours a day. So maybe just 15 minutes in the evening, or when you're switching off.
Yeah.
There's so much out there on social media. Just even put in supply chain. That's actually how I keeps on it. And I am like begin education, because I'm doing a course and things at the moment, and it's brilliant. But it's keeping in tune just with the up-to-date movement. There's loads of books. I don't even know which one. Sorry, no, to recommend.
I think that the suggestion of just, you know, Forbes, or finding your you know, your news source that is a trusted news source but gives you really valuable information, I think that's a great recommendation. And just using, you know, social media as a tool for learning and staying up to date is also, it's very, very valuable. That's something that I do. So is I think there's definitely a lot of value in that. And then a little bit of a left field one, which is a song that if you're just feeling maybe a little bit low on energy, or you just need to perk up, what is the song of choice?
The song of choice. Oh, Sunshine on a Rainy Day.
Oh, isn't that lovely? What a nice choice. Yes, very good. Love that. Look, Mary, what a fab conversation. So many positive outlooks and little recommendations, I think, there that can really be taken by anyone at any stage of their business cycle, and can be implemented very, very easily, and just has really demystified the world of supply chain, which, you know, a lot of people do not get, you know, excited about that world. But I think that you really, you know, translated the business impact for that. And thank you very much. I really appreciate that today.
Thank you so much for having me today. It's been a pleasure, and I really enjoyed this morning and this afternoon. It's been fabulous. So thanks a million. Thanks, Alison.
Thank you. Thank you. And this is a podcast series, Dream Reality, from Idunn Consulting. And if you like what you've just heard, then please like and share, and all the details of the recommendations will be in the show notes below. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week ahead.
Take care. Bye.